Welcome to NTD News Today. Here are today's top stories. All unclassified Epstein file materials could soon be released. A bill is heading to President Trump's desk after clearing the House and Senate. New York City's incoming mayor fulfills one of his campaign promises related to policing in New York City. It's a move that could put some of his critics at ease. Former FBI Director James Comey is in court today to ask for a dismissal of the federal case against him, calling it selective and vindictive.
This is NTD News Today, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Today is Wednesday, November 19th. I'm Kevin Hogan. Congress voted almost unanimously to force the release of more files on the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House passed the measure with a vote of 427 to 1. It will soon arrive at President Trump's desk. Here's more.
On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The resolution requiring the release of all unclassified records on Epstein was then sent to the Republican majority Senate, which swiftly approved it.
The American people have waited long enough. Jeffrey Epstein's victims have waited long enough. Let the truth come out. Let transparency reign. And I urge my Republican colleagues, let the Senate act today.
Is there an objection? Without objection, so ordered.
The Senate has now passed the Epstein bill as soon as it comes over from the House.
The bill could now go to President Donald Trump for his signature as soon as Wednesday. A senior White House official said that Trump plans to sign the bill when it reaches his desk. Trump appeared frustrated about a tension surrounding the issue hours before the vote.
As far as the Epstein files I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right.
The president has said he has no connection to Epstein's crimes and has called the issue a Democratic hoax.
Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is resigning from the board of OpenAI. The move comes after a House committee released emails he had exchanged with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Those emails showed years of personal correspondence between the two men. Since the release, Summers has said he plans on stepping away from public commitments. He previously served as former Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary. He also was former President Barack Obama's National Economic Council Director, as well as Harvard University's president. Harvard is launching an investigation into Summers' relationship to Epstein. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani announced he will keep New York's current police commissioner. During this campaign, he pledged to keep Jessica Tisch in the role. She is seen as being at odds with Mamdani's views on policing. Democrats, who would otherwise not have supported his campaign, gave their backing because of his vow to retain Tisch. Mamdani's critics fear his past views on police could lead to policies that allow crime to grow. But Tisch's time leading the police department under Mayor Eric Adams has led to a significant drop in murders, though felony assault numbers are at the highest level they've been in at least 24 years. Tisch opposed New York's 2019 criminal justice reforms, seen as creating a soft-on-crime situation, while Mamdani wanted even more of the same kind of changes. Billionaire activist Tom Steyer has entered California's race for governor. The Democrat and former presidential candidate will compete against several contenders. Incumbent California Governor Gavin Newsom is prevented from running due to term limits. Several Democrats are running to take his place, including former U.S. Representative Katie Porter and former Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra. Steyer is the co-founder of Beneficial State Bank, a nonprofit community development bank. The Democrat is also the founder of NextGen, a youth voter engagement organization. According to Steyer's campaign website, the billionaire is running on a platform of housing affordability, campaign finance policy, and education. Former FBI Director James Comey appears before a federal judge in Virginia today to ask for a dismissal of what his attorneys call a selective and vindictive prosecution by the Trump administration. The Trump administration charged Comey in September with making a false statement to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding. The Justice Department alleges that he lied to Congress about authorizing leaks to the press. Comey's attorneys accused the Trump administration of singling out their client because of the president's personal criticisms. They also claim that Comey's comments were protected speech. They have asked a federal judge today to dismiss the case with prejudice, meaning the case cannot be brought for a second time. A three-judge panel says a new congressional map drawn by the Texas legislature cannot be used for the 2026 election. NTD's Arlene Richards has the details.
A three-judge federal panel ruled on Tuesday that the state of Texas will have to use its old 2021 congressional map for the 2026 election, instead of the new map that was passed in August. The new map had easily cleared the GOP-controlled legislature and was then signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott. It could have given Republicans an additional 5 seats in the U.S. House. If the new map could be used for the 2026 election, Republicans would have a chance for 30 of the state's 38 seats, up from the 25 they currently hold, which would help protect the GOP majority in the U.S. House. Judge Jeffrey Brown, who sat on the panel, said there was a public perception that the redrawing was about politics. In addition, he said there was significant evidence of racial gerrymandering in the new map. The decision comes 10 days into the month-long period when candidates can sign up for the March primary. The filing deadline is December 8th. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is wasting no time preparing an appeal to the Supreme Court. In a press release on Tuesday, Paxton said he would be submitting a filing to the highest court and asking them to pause the panel's decision. He said the map was entirely legal and that it represented the political affiliations of Texas. Paxton further said that Democratic states across the country had systematically reduced representation for Republican voters in their congressional delegation. It's not immediately clear if the state will be granted the right to restore the new map in time for 2026. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
New York City will see expanded immigration enforcement soon. Border Czar Tom Homan says that ongoing operations in the sanctuary city will be beefed up.
Regardless of Republican or Democratic city, we're going to enforce our laws across this country and take those public safety threats off the street, Bill. But I'll say this, I've said it from day one. Sanctuary cities, we're flooding the zone because we know they're releasing public safety threats in the communities every day. If the mayor of New York City wants to come and talk about making the streets safer, open up for discussion. I'm willing to meet with anybody. President Trump's willing to meet with anybody. But let's get together and work it together. We much rather work with these sanctuary cities than keep, putting our agents at extreme risk.
The announcement comes 1 month after ICE agents conducted a sweep on street vendors in Manhattan, which turned into chaos after agents were swarmed by protesters. Homan did not say when the escalation in the Big Apple would begin. DHS would oversee any operations. Local leaders opposed the surge, and New York Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani said his city is committed to upholding its sanctuary policies. The Department of Homeland Security is also launching a 2-month immigration crackdown in Louisiana and Mississippi. The operation is called Swamp Sweep. It will deploy about 250 federal agents beginning in December. It aims to arrest nearly 5,000 people. Melania Trump and Isha Vance are teaming up for a pre-Thanksgiving visit to military families in North Carolina today. They'll be making stops at Camp Lejeune and Marine Corps Air Station New River. They're also expected to make formal remarks at an aircraft hangar to thank those who serve this holiday season. The trip marks the women's first joint appearance without their husbands since the Trump-Vance administration began in January. An update on Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. The National Transportation Safety Board now says a loose wire caused a power failure leading to the collision. The cargo ship Dolly crashed into the bridge in March 2024, killing 6 construction workers. The investigation found a single loose wire in the electrical system caused a breaker to unexpectedly open. That set off a sequence of events that led to 2 vessel blackouts and a loss of propulsion and steering. The safety board found that wire label banding prevented the wire from being fully inserted, causing the bad connection. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy compared the search for the wire to finding a single loose rivet on the Eiffel Tower. The NTSB and the ship's manufacturer had to test thousands of wires to find the problem. The board also said a lack of countermeasures to reduce the bridge's vulnerability to impacts contributed to the collapse. Stay with us. Soccer superstar Cristiano Ronaldo alongside the Saudi Crown Prince visiting the White House yesterday. What does the invite suggest about Trump's efforts for world peace? Our contributor with some insight. And President Trump says world leaders will join a new board of peace to oversee Gaza's interim government under a U.S. brokered ceasefire. All that coming up. Welcome back. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Patel are now holding a joint press conference announcing a significant law enforcement action. Let's tune into this.
The most prolific and violent drug trafficking organizations in this world. He is currently the largest distributor of cocaine in Canada. Wedding collaborates closely with the Sinaloa cartel, a foreign terrorist organization, to flood not only American but also Canadian communities with cocaine coming from Colombia. His organization is responsible for importing approximately 60 metric tons of cocaine a year into Los Angeles via semi-trucks from Mexico. To put that in perspective, 60 metric tons is approximately the weight of 40 standard cars. Imagine that. That's how much cocaine, the weight of 40 cars, he is bringing into our country a year. In the course of the investigation, more than 35 individuals have been indicted. Over 2,000 kilos and numerous weapons have been seized. Approximately $3.2 million in cryptocurrency has been recovered, and over $13 million in physical assets has been confiscated. Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024. He used a Canadian website called The Dirty News to post photographs of the witness and his wife in order to locate him, which ultimately succeeded. The witness was gunned down in a restaurant in Medellin before he could testify against Wedding. Today, we're unsealing a new indictment, charging Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering and intimidation, murder, money laundering, and drug trafficking. The website that was used to hunt down this witness and his wife, that has since been removed. That has been deleted. Protecting federal witnesses from retaliation is core to the department's mission. It's about individual safety, but more, it's about protecting the rule of law itself. The new indictment also includes several other individuals involved in the murder of the witness and other crimes in connection with this criminal enterprise. You're going to be hearing more about that from the people behind me. We're working very closely with our partners at the State Department and the Department of Treasury. The State Department has raised the reward for Ryan Wedding from $10 million to $15 million. We're offering $2 million rewards for information leading to the arrest of those involved in the murder of the witness. The Treasury Department's Foreign Asset Control is seizing assets belonging to approximately 19 of the targets associated with Wedding's criminal enterprise, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I want to thank the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California, as well as our Canadian law enforcement partners for their steadfast commitment to bring Ryan Wedding to justice. I also want to thank the Colombian National Police, who have greatly helped us. Let me be clear, drugs are killing our kids. Whether you are a street-level drug dealer, a common street-level drug dealer, or an international drug kingpin, we are coming for you, we will find you, and you will be accountable and held to justice for your crimes. It's killing our kids, it's killing our friends, it's killing our relatives, and this guy is responsible for a tremendous amount of that horror. President Trump gave us one mission: make America safe again. And we will not sit idly by and let these drug dealers continue to do business, run roughshod on our neighborhoods, and put the American people and our Canadian people in harm's way. To the American people, the Justice Department will use every tool available to catch these monsters. Thank you to all of our partners in this fight.
That was Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Patel announcing a $15 million reward for the accused drug trafficker Ryan Wedding. They say he is violent and dangerous. Do not approach him, but if you have tips, contact the FBI. They also unsealed more indictments against him. Next up, a look at President Trump's meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Trump announced yesterday that the United States would designate Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally. The move represents a substantial evaluation of the Muslim kingdom's diplomatic standing with the United States.
Tonight, I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. A stronger and more capable alliance will advance the interests of both countries, and it will serve the highest interest of peace.
Well, it's too hard to speak after Mr. President. No one speaks better than him. But first of all, I will start with thanking Mr. President for the warm and great welcome that we have today. We believe the opportunities is huge, so we're going to focus on implementation and keep increasing the opportunities between our both countries.
The designation means the two nations have agreed to work more closely on military, economic, and related initiatives. The Saudi government will now gain priority access to American military equipment, including F-35 fighter jets. Saudi Arabia joins 20 other nations as a major non-NATO ally. The list includes countries in the Middle East, such as Israel, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, and others. Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Portugal's soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo joined Trump and bin Salman at the black tie White House dinner. Trump commented on Ronaldo's presence, joking that his son Barron respects his father a little bit more now. Ronaldo plays for Saudi club Al Nassr. Amazon owner Jeff Bezos was also in attendance. And President Trump says world leaders will sit on a new board of peace tasked with guiding an interim government in Gaza. It's part of the second phase of the U.S.-brokered ceasefire between Israel and the Hamas terror group. The deal shifts security control to an international stabilization force with a 2-year mandate. The board will oversee security, humanitarian aid, and reconstruction. It will also eventually help transition authority to a reformed Palestinian Authority. Trump, who will chair the board, says major nations want to join, urging Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to take a seat. The UN Security Council approved the U.S.-drafted resolution backing the plan, with Russia and China abstaining. Trump called the vote a major step toward stability, saying the board's work in Gaza could grow to wider regions as efforts toward a lasting ceasefire continue. The Trump administration is moving ahead with major structural changes to the Department of Education. Officials say the steps will reduce bureaucracy, but critics argue the changes could create risks for students. Here's more.
The Department of Education says it's preparing to ship several of its core programs to other federal agencies as part of an effort to dismantle the department and reduce federal spending. According to a press release, one of the most sweeping changes involves moving more than $30 billion in federal education grants to the Department of Labor, which would also take on a larger role in overseeing K-12 programs. Education programs serving Native American students will be transferred to the Department of the Interior, which the administration says will become the key point of contact for tribes and students. International education and foreign language programs will be shifted to the State Department, which the administration says is better placed to streamline funding, improve data collection, and advance national security interests. Childcare programs for parents in college and oversight of foreign medical student accreditation will be reassigned to the Department of Health and Human Services. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon told Fox News yesterday the restructuring is part of an effort to break up Washington bureaucracy and return control to states and local leaders.
And the announcement really follows the plan that President Trump has had since day one, and that is returning education to the states. He fully believes, as do I, the best education is that's closest to the child and not run from a bureaucracy in Washington, D.C.
McMahon said the Department of Education will continue to fund, manage, and oversee the programs it is transferring to other agencies. She called it a test run to see if they will function more efficiently this way. The administration calls these moves interagency agreements and says they are allowed under the Economy Act. During his campaign, President Trump repeatedly vowed to close the Department of Education, arguing that authority should return to the states. But that's a decision the administration says it's ultimately up to Congress. McMahon on Tuesday questioned the necessity of having a Department of Education at all, saying the recent government shutdown had no effect on students and teachers.
The Federal Department of Education furloughed 90% of its staff. And what happened? Nothing. Schools stayed open. Students went to class. Teachers got paid. The shutdown proved our schools don't depend on Washington bureaucracy to function.
The restructuring has already triggered sharp backlash from Democrats. Senator Elizabeth Warren described the announcement as part of an assault on public education. Some Republicans are cheering the changes. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds called it a great step toward eliminating the federal education bureaucracy and ensuring greater efficiency in delivering services to schools. But Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, whose district includes parts of Philadelphia's suburbs, defended the Department of Education's functions as foundational. He said changing them without congressional oversight would pose real risks to students.
I'm Kevin Hogan, and this is World Watch. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting with the president of Turkey today. Zelensky's goal is to revive peace negotiations with Russia as the fighting rages on. Zelensky's meeting with Turkey's president comes after he visited Greece, France, and Spain. Zelensky is also due to meet with U.S. Army officials in Kyiv tomorrow. Those meetings come amid another increase in the fighting between Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say at least 25 civilians are dead after a Russian drone and missile attack today. The strikes hit apartment buildings in the western Ukrainian city of Ternopil. 80 more people are wounded, according to officials. Ukraine says Russia fired almost 500 drones and 50 missiles overnight. Blinded by lasers, Britain says the Russian spy ship Yantar directed lasers at British pilots sent to monitor it. The UK's Defence Minister John Healey said military operations are ready if the ship becomes a threat. The ship is designed for intelligence gathering and mapping undersea cables. It is currently on the edge of British waters north of Scotland. Healey says it's the first time the Yantar has taken such action against its Air Force. The Defense Minister says he has changed the Navy's rules of engagement so they can now follow the activities of the ship more closely.
That Russian action is deeply dangerous. And this is the second time this year that this ship, the Yantar, has deployed to UK waters. So my message to Russia and to Putin is this. We see you, we know what you're doing, and if the Yantar travels south this week, we are ready.
Poland's foreign minister said Russia's last consulate in Poland will be shut down. The diplomat said the move was in response to what he called an act of sabotage on a railway last weekend. The Kremlin said that it regretted Warsaw's decision. The blast hit the railway that connects the Polish capital to the Ukrainian border. Polish authorities said 2 Ukrainian collaborators behind the sabotage have fled to Belarus, a Russian ally. Moscow denies responsibility for the blast. In South Korea, a ferry carrying nearly 270 people ran aground on rocks off the country's southwest coast today. A local news agency reported that 5 people suffered minor injuries, but no other casualties have been reported. A Coast Guard statement said the ship was carrying 267 people, including 246 passengers and 21 crew members. The Coast Guard said it was mobilizing all available assets to rescue those on the ship. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the vessel to run aground. And a massive fire burned through more than 170 buildings overnight in a neighborhood in southwestern Japan, according to local media. The Fire and Disaster Management Agency said around 175 residents fled to an emergency shelter yesterday after the blaze broke out in the city of Oita. They said that one person is still missing, while the cause of the fire remains under investigation. Local media reports the fire has yet to be brought under control and has since spread to a nearby forest. And tensions between China and Japan continue, with Japan lodging a complaint against China over viral social media videos. Japan says the clips misrepresent a recent high-level diplomatic meeting.
We have lodged complaints against the Chinese side regarding the press arrangements being made without proper coordination with Japan.
The video appeared to show a Chinese official speaking with his hands in his pockets to the Japanese official. The Japanese official appeared to look deferential and apologetic with a bowed head. And Beijing told Tokyo today it will halt imports of Japanese seafood. The message appears tied to Prime Minister Sanae Takeichi's recent comments on defending Taiwan in the event of a Chinese attack. Meanwhile, Japan's economic security minister is warning that the country's heavy reliance on China poses growing risks as tensions escalate. And Spain's parliament plans to investigate Meta for possible privacy violations. The investigation stems from research that found Meta used a hidden mechanism to track web activity.
They've revealed how this company, digital platform Meta, the company behind Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, has allegedly been spying millions of users without their knowledge. How? Through a hidden system that allowed them to track their internet activity even when they browse the internet in a private mode or while using a VPN.
Spain's investigation into the U.S. tech giant could further sour relations with the U.S. The U.S. has criticized Spain over its failure to meet NATO spending targets and for its friendliness with Beijing. Spain's government said Meta may have violated various European Union laws on security and privacy. The Spanish Prime Minister said the law is above any algorithm or any large technology platform and said the issue cannot go unpunished. Spain's government said Meta will be called to testify before a lower house committee. The Trump administration has criticized the way Europe has treated U.S. tech companies. Last year, the European Commission fined Meta over $900 million over Facebook marketplace practices. France's Louvre Museum will install 100 external cameras by the end of 2026. The plan comes as the Louvre tightens security 1 month after a high-profile heist. Today, the Louvre's director detailed additional measures the museum would take.
Nos liens avec la préfecture de police seront renforcés.
Our ties with the police prefecture will be strengthened, and I would like to thank the police prefecture for its mobilization and for very fruitful meetings that we currently have. This especially includes the upcoming installation of an advanced mobile outpost of the National Police within the estate of the Louvre.
The daylight robbery took place exactly 1 month ago on October 19th. During the heist, 4 robbers used a mobile ladder to steal over $100 million worth of jewels. The loot has yet to be recovered. 4 suspects have been charged. Officials have admitted there was inadequate security camera coverage outside the museum and on the balcony involved in the break-in. And if you have any feedback on the show or have something you'd like to see us cover, send us an email at news.today@ntd.com. And we'll cover more news right after this break.